Hi, so my name is Mary. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Um,
Mary.
so I'm with a French media called Just About TV. So thank you for answering my questions.
Of course. I don't. No, I feel like I actually was just talking about this a little while ago. If you look at kind of, you take any other character on the show, like the Evil Queen or Robin Hood or Hook or whatever, they're, and you place them in kind of a Venn diagram, right? The overlap is very tiny for the Evil Queen character in Fairy Tale Land and her character in Storybrooke, right? It's they're very sort of dissimilar. I mean, there's obviously a lot of similarities, but on the other side of the spectrum, Neal was very much who he was in both places. He was just a kid trying to outrun his past, and the darkness of, the shadow of of the sins of his father, and I think that's something that a lot of kids can relate to in some way or another, but that being the case, he was always who he was, like, even though he didn't go around introducing himself as, hey, my name is Bellfire, I'm from the Enchanted Forest, whatever. He came up with a different name, a different backstory, just because, he didn't want to have to go through all the trouble of explaining that constantly. But his personality was essentially the same, it wasn't altered by that. He didn't feel the need to change his personality in order to operate in the real world. So yeah, so I that part wasn't like a challenge, really. I mean, he was always very grounded, I felt like, No, not even a little bit. I mean, tell me a story. It's they had the story, the fairy tales sort of woven into a modern story, not as a companion to the original fairy tales, but sort of as a retelling of the fairy tales in a modern way. So, example, I was in the sort of the Three Little Pigs storyline. The way we did it wasn't as if the Three Little Pigs existed in a different place. This was the story of the Three Little Pigs. So I never felt it was similar. I mean, it was honestly, if you had no idea about fairy tales at all, you could still tell the story of Tell Me a Story, so yeah, no, it didn't to me feel like I was going over ground I had already covered. It felt new. Gosh, a lot. I mean, that was very early in my career, and it was such a huge deal for me to get that offer, and then to play, a Cajun, which is a group of people, in America of French ancestry that live down on the bayou and speak a pidgin form of French, and so it was a big kind of swing for me. And I mean, I really I loved it. I loved working on that show. And Alan Ball, who is the creator of it, of the series, not the books. The books are written by Charlene Harris, but the series, Alan Ball is just so good. He also did 6 Feet Under. I don't know if you guys had that. He wrote American Beauty. He's just a brilliant storyteller. And so that was a lot of fun. The difference for me, as an actor, is, when we were shooting True Blood, when you work for HBO, it's not like working for ABC, which is who did Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
So at HBO, you shoot the entire season before it airs, and at ABC, you're only a couple of weeks ahead of the airtime. And I came on to Once Upon a Time season 2. So I knew I was coming onto an incredibly successful show, in terms of the viewership. True Blood, we had no idea if anybody was going to be into vampires at all. I mean, this was True Blood was before, the Rob Pattinson one with
Twilight.
It was before Twilight. And so, and then it was the Vampire Diaries, and it was like the vampires were everywhere after that. And I'm not saying that's because of True Blood, but clearly there was a very, very deep well that I didn't know, the reservoir was there that we had tapped into, So, so it was a little bit different, but it was such a great time making that show.
Yeah. Well, that was my last question. So thank you so much for your time. And I hope you will enjoy your day with the fans and everything.
No, thank you so much, Mary. Appreciate it.
Thank you.